guys, how are you doing? I really hope you're doing well. First off, let me introduce myself. My name is Yusra, and I've been speaking English for over 7 years now. I used to give online classes for customers who were interested in improving and polishing their English speaking and writing skills as well for 2 years. This is actually my very first time on YouTube, so I'm basically trying to get my feet wet at this. So please bear with me. Before I get any further to today's topic, I must tell you that I'm super excited and gung-ho to start this video with you, as I'm about to walk you through some of my personal, exclusive, and great tips and tips that have personally helped me immensely speak like a native speaker. Since the very beginning of my English speaking journey, I've been getting the same questions over and over. Like, how did you learn English so effectively? How did you pick up American accents so swiftly? Is there some sort of thing that I can do to improve over a month time or even less or even overnight? Believe me, you guys, I know it sounds crazy, but I've been asked this question and a bunch of other questions. Some did make sense and some didn't. But since there is much to this topic than it seems, I just decided that I can't cover everything in one single, concise, brief answer. So I've just made a snap decision to share this video with you and with whoever aspires to speak like a native speaker and improve their pronunciation and accent as well. And nowadays, who doesn't? So I am just going to impart my experience to you and share with you everything that I know and that I did and it worked for me, okay? So let's do this. First off, here is an interesting fact that I assume a lot of you guys are already acquainted with, but as a rule, even if your vocabulary and English grammar are perfect and impeccable and flawless, it can still be difficult for people to fathom and understand you. Do you know why? Guess. Because of your pronunciation. Learning to pronounce English words correctly can be one of the trickiest challenges and parts of learning English. English language has certain sounds that your native language might not, so you will have to learn how to make completely new sounds. I know, it's challenging. Plus, in English language, we have vowels. Vowels make it really difficult to know how to say a word. For example, way and way. The first word is a noun, while the second word is a verb. And despite their very similar pronunciation, they do both have quite different meanings. Oops, yes, I know this can drive you crazy at times. So that's why I've hopped on here to help you and to share with you some of my efficacious tips and tips that have personally helped me immeasurably as a beginner. First thing that you need to do is to pay a massive attention to listening. As a novice or beginner, you need to learn how to listen. Some sounds can be difficult to tell apart when you're listening. For example, did the speaker say sheep or cheap? There are many sources to get started in learning how to listen. For example, movies. Movies have made the most fundamental and colossal change in my pronunciation and accent. Believe me, you guys. I still remember vividly back in the day when I used to sit back and spend hours and hours watching English movies, and specifically English movies in American accent. Since I always had this soft spot for American accent, I adored it, and I still do, obviously. I remember how I used to pin my ears back and listen carefully and try my very utmost to tell sounds apart. And here is the bomb to lay on you guys. Watching American movies on a regular basis made a sea change in my pronunciation and accent as well. Having said that, movies were not the sole and only thing I relied on to develop my English speaking skills. But I also resorted to English songs, podcasts, and anything that was said in English. Because at that time, I had an unfaltering belief that the better I get at hearing words, the better I get at pronouncing them. For me, it was just the only way I could pick up the accurate pronunciation. But this does not necessarily mean that you have to content yourself with movies or songs or podcasts alone, but you could even listen to your favorite tutor or English teacher or even your friend who's good at English, who will be transmitting a lot of information, including pronunciation, accent, and vocabulary, and all of that jazz. The second and crucial thing that I need you to consider and take into account when learning language is stress. English language is known to be a stress language, meaning that some sounds and words are more important than others. In other words, certain syllables or parts of the word are more emphasized than others. You can hear this when you say a word out loud. For example, the word introduce. Introduce is pronounced with a stress at the end, so it sounds like this. Introduce, introduce. Where you put the stress in a word can change the word's meaning. Here's some of the common examples. If you say present, you're talking about a noun that means either a gift or right this moment. On the other hand, if you say present, you're talking about a verb that means to give or to show. If this all sounds too overwhelming and complicated, do not worry about memorizing all of these rules and learning them off by heart and flooding your poor mind, because the best way to learn is by listening. Bear in mind that most native speakers are not aware of these rules either. If you give it a thought, native speakers don't even know what stress is, but since they were toddlers, they started listening and imitating the words heard in their environment until they got the hang of their pronunciation. So this takes us back to the former step, listening, and it shows us how important and crucial it is. The third thing I did, and I urge you to do as well, is to ask yourself which dialect of English you want to learn from the very get-go. In other words, do you want to sound like you're from America or England or Australia or South Africa and so forth when you speak? A lot of the time, I find English learners still indecisive as to what dialect they want to speak, which is totally wrong. Choosing your dialect of English is one of the first decisions to make on your English learning journey, since this choice will drastically affect your pronunciation. For example, in America, the R sound at the end of a word is much harsher, and when a T appears in the middle of a word, Americans often pronounce it as D, while British pronounce it as hard T. Here are two examples for the sake of illustration. In American dialect, we say water, water. In British dialect, we say water, water.
In American English, water, water.
In British English, water, water.
In American dialect, we say lighter, lighter. In British dialect, we say lighter, lighter.
In American English, lighter, lighter.
In British English, lighter, lighter.
Now, let's get to the fourth thing that I did and I also want you to do. Record yourself as you speak. This tip is quite helpful in terms of improving your fluency. I personally used to record myself now and then to put my pronunciation of certain words to test. Once I'm done recording, what I would usually do is I try to compare my pronunciation to that of an American native speaker, a thing which drastically helped me to work on my mistakes and learn from them. Last but not least, practice. Practice, you guys, is amazing. There is nothing you would rather be doing than practicing with someone. Practice with other people and speak as much as you can. Whenever an opportunity presents itself, seize it. We're all familiar with the saying that goes, practice makes perfect. Practice online or in reality with other people will help you try everything you learned and also learn new things from one another. Plus, it's super fun, enjoyable. Another reason as to why you need practice is anxiety. When you're not accustomed to speaking, what happens is that you get jittery and nervous whenever it's finally time for you to open your mouth and let the words out. Anxiety stems from lack of practice. The more you practice, the less anxious and nervous you feel when you speak. So what you need to do is to make it a daily habit to speak to yourself or to your friend or whoever that is, or a community of other people, to overcome anxiety and speak more comfortably and fluently. So what you need to do is to make it a daily habit to speak to yourself or to a friend of yours or a community of other people, and do never wait for other people to strike up a conversation. Try to take the initiative. Try to start the conversation with other people. This way you will be able to overcome anxiety and speak more comfortably and fluently. You guys, I'm over the moon. This finally brings us to the end of this video, so I need to wrap things up. I've generally tried to provide you with my own experience and the things that I've done to step up my game in English and to get where I am today. I hope that this video was very informative and super educational. Please let me know what you think in the comment section below, and let me know if you want me to be making more videos for you guys. Thank you so very much for watching. See you